Business to Profit. My name is Gualter Amarelo, and this is run by Dr. Terry Wager. Dr. Terry is a master of systems so that you can make more money. Hands to the camera if that's one of your goals. You like to make more money this year? Yes. And how about making more money with less stress, less physical involvement?
Less stress. How about less stress?
Yeah, sign me up for less stress. Making money is a product of serving other people. An entrepreneur is somebody who solves problems. And yet in the process, we end up with problems of our own. Hands to the camera if you recognize some of that already in your business. There's problems that show up. Excellent. Excellent. Terry, I know you always ask the question, what is going on in your world and how can we help? So I'll give it to Terry and let him ask.
Yeah. Tonight I have a little bit of an idea of a topic because it was inspired by a Facebook post by one of our alchemist people put up. But as far as leads, where do you get your leads? How do you get your leads? What do you do to improve your deal flow regarding leads? That's where this question started out. So I'm going to pose that as the question for you guys to post in the chat. Where do you get your leads? How do you go about doing it? And what happens when leads start drying up?
When leads start drying up, I lose my mind and I go get more leads, right?
Lose my mind and run around like my hair is on fire.
Awesome. Drop it in the chat. What is your favorite lead gen process? What's worked for you? What hasn't worked for you? This is a interactive meeting. Sphere. Sphere.
That's what my cat says as our little world is rolling at him, and then he runs away. Facebook marketing, affiliate marketing, working on Facebook, contacting people I'd like to work with and starting conversations. We can get leads from anywhere, but LinkedIn directories are on the top. Awesome, Dave. Thank you. The question that was asked to me is, what networking group should I go to? And this is what sparked this conversation, because the real question is how do I find somebody to work with? How do I find somebody that I can be of service to? A lot of people in the beginning of their business or when they're just starting out think, how can I get more sales? What can I do? And the problem is getting more, and what can I do to get more doesn't work. And Gualter was talking about it a minute ago, is how can I be of more service? How can I be out finding people to help? And that's, for me, where I live in my mindset, in my daily life, is who else can I help? And where are these people? And so the question is, what networking group should I go to? BNI Networks. Here's the thing about BNI. They're really great, but you can only join one, and then you can only have leads in one. Hang on a minute. I have somebody on tech support hold over there, and that was a little bit loud. So the idea is, when we're looking at what we want to do we want to limit ourselves to one networking system, one little group? Do we want to put ourselves? I joined this group called LaTip. Now, LaTip is very similar to BNI. In fact, BNI sprung from LaTip as a different networking group, where you have a one of every trade, and then they send referrals back and forth. And it's a real good concept on paper, but when you start looking at it, it really actually starts to turn in on itself and doesn't grow the right way that you want it to. And then it starts to create a clique of people who only serve each other for the most part. And so
I also don't like BNI. Just
they can also be very costly. And so here's my suggestion in a nutshell. Well, before I get to my suggestion, I'm going to talk about some of the difficulties that I've experienced. I just talked about LaTip. I went there. a lot of people were already clicked up and they knew each other for a long time. So they're not necessarily referring to new people. And what they told me when I got there was they said, you know what, you just got to be around here for a year before they get to know you. Now, for me, if I got to wait a year for anything, I'm having a little bit of a hard time with that. I want to help people sooner. I want to be in the community. I want to be in the interaction quickly. I want to meet somebody, have coffee with them, move them to some kind of what are we going to do together? Am I going to be your client? Are you going to be my client? Are we going to do something together? Are you going to refer me to somebody who I can help? Am I going to refer you to somebody I help? And maybe all of those or a number of those different ways we could work together. But I look at every person as one of those 5 potentials. Now, the funny thing is when we first get into this business of working with other people, no matter if you're a real estate investor or you're a project manager or you're a lawyer or you're a writer, whatever it is.
Actually,
No matter,
since you mentioned it, Tara, if we could get everybody's main stream of income, throw it in the chat so we can make this a little more real, a
networky.
little more fun. A little
Yeah.
networky. There you go.
Yeah. Throw it in there. Throw what you do, where you're at, who you help, who your primary people that you help is. Put it in the chat.
Well, Dave, and Dave dropped in the chat. Terry, what do you think about free networking versus paid networking?
Well, my feeling about free networking, it should all be free. But the fact of the matter is I go to different networking events, and like there's this one in Portland where I live called Network PDX, I think. PDX Tech, that's what it is, PDX Tech. And it's a tech industry. It's for new startup tech industry. And I think it's $10 if you buy your ticket, but there's 300 people at this thing. And so they want to make sure they have enough food for people. It's a once a month thing. And then if you didn't buy your ticket and you're not early bird, it's $15 online. And then if you go to the door, it's $20. I think that's fine because they're covering the cost of the food. They're covering the cost of a real event, but it's still a networking gig. And then you go in there and then they have the blue and gold and red or green tickets. Green means I'm looking to hire. Blue means I'm looking to be hired, and gold or something like that means I'm just here networking to build relationships. Love that model. If I was running a big networking event, that's exactly what I do. As far as BNI, I don't see the value in it. They have too many restrictions in my book. Now, other people love it. I don't have a problem with other people loving it. For me, it doesn't work because they want me to be there every week on time and on schedule. And I do a lot of traveling. Like I would be kicked out of the group right now just for the trip I'm on right now. I'd be kicked out.
I think it only works for attorneys. Right? I'm pretty sure attorneys are the only people who actually win at the BNIs.
Insurance, it works for attorneys, some doctors. It works for anybody who has a good practice. It works for contractors too. Mila tip, the contractors and the real estate agents, they were locked in. And in fact, we had a real estate agent that works for a place called John L. Scott. And he did all of the referrals of all of the different tradespeople to the people who are buying his houses. And they would refer people who were selling houses. And so that worked really well. It didn't work well for me, partly because I'm not there a lot, because I'm doing things out of the state. And when I was there, it just wasn't, people weren't really interested in going and learning more on how to build a business. They were more focused on trying to get leads. So their mindset wasn't in the right place. And so that's something you're going to see in a lot of different leads groups. And so leads group is different than networking for me. And a lot of the ones you pay for, it's really about leads groups when you pay. Networking is about really building your net worth through your relationships. And I want to make that clear. One of the things that we talk about at Generator Coaching is relationships, resources, and results. You can't get your results if you don't have the resources or the relationships to work towards the results you're looking for. And so those are the 3 areas we're really to focus on is relationships, resources, and results. Because through the relationships you have, You find the resources you need to get the results you want. And so go ahead.
3 R's. I just love that it's 3 R's, right? Relationships, resources, results. That's worth writing down if you have a pen and paper next to you.
And we've talked about that for a while. And then when we rebranded our generator, the R is really big in that. And Christine's like, what does the R stand for? I'm like, relationships, resources, and results. Of course. And she was like, oh yeah, I forgot. I love it. And so, and she's probably saying it happened different. But that's what we really value in what we're doing. And so when this question came up about where do you find a networking group or how do you generate leads out of it? For me is everywhere you go, everything you're doing, you should have a marketing message that's short, to the point, that people are very, very clear about. I sell houses. I build businesses. I build companies. I help you with your high performance in your business, whatever it is, a short sentence that's really clear on what you do and how you can help them, what it means to them. And so that's what we're looking for when we're talking about going and doing some kind of networking group. Now, the answer to what is the best one to go to is all of them. Go to all of them. Anyone that you can get to, anyone that you can be a part of, go to and start talking to people. Find out what they do, what they're about, what they like to do, what they don't like to do, who they know, who you know that they know, who you don't know that they know that would be good for you. Hey, Gualter, it's good to meet you. Who do I need to know here?
Probably me. I'm probably the only one. Well,
a good answer. Not a good answer. Not a good answer. You know, and so it's like, oh, Gualter, you're in personal development. You know what? You got to meet my friend Mike. He actually builds funnels for people in personal development.
Hashtag the funnel's live. The funnel is running. So Mike Gabriel is amazing. We'll put a little shout out to him.
Hell yeah. I was just talking to him today. And so doesn't matter who it is or what they are. One of the first things our mind does when we start thinking about, I got to get leads, is, oh shit, who am I going to get? And then the next thing we do is we go, oh no, people are going to know I want leads. And then we're like, how do I talk to these people? And then we go to a networking event or a meetup or some kind of group like that. And we either don't say what we do, we don't talk to anybody. Who here has gone to a networking event and just stood in the corner? I've done it.
I've done it.
I did it for a long time. Like, I don't know these people. These people look weird. And, and then if you really look at it, I'm in the corner. It's very uncomfortable in the beginning when you start going to crowds you don't know. And so then what you do is you find one or two people and you go to the networking event with them and you both stand in the corner talking about the rest of the group. And then what you do is you get out of that and you keep going to all these different networking events, whether it's a 5-person thing, a 10-person thing, a 20-person thing. And then you start introducing each other to each other and you start to get to know each other. I went to a networking event last night with 5 people. And us 5 went into a group, and then each of us started talking to different people, and then we started introducing each other to the people that were there. And, oh, have you met this person? Have you met that person? And it turned out into a pretty good networking event for us, where we made some connections. But the whole idea is it's a connection. It's not a deal. You're not looking to make a deal. You're making a connection. And then, just like you do when you're working with somebody, the next idea is to make an appointment to talk to them again. And so you want to continue to move through the process of developing and connecting again and again and again and again. And so that's what we do. When Christine and I go networking, it's not like we find the perfect place to go. And then, oh, look at there's a pot of gold there too. In fact, it's you go and you go and you go and you go to everything you can. You meet people, you start seeing the same people show up. You develop relationships. Oh, I saw you at that place. I saw you at this. What do you do? Who do you do that with? What kind of business are you into? All kinds of different questions like that. And it doesn't matter what the questions you're asking are, you just want to open the conversation. So you start talking about it. One of the best conversations that we had last night was with a guy who was a mortgage broker, but we were talking about him going and being on a TV show for racing cars. I think, Walter, I think you know him. But he lit up. He was so excited about his experience doing this drag racing with his own car. And he talked for maybe 30 minutes. It was a great
It's got to be Dave
conversation.
Pereira and
Yep.
his Cadillac. Yeah.
Yes. And the funny thing is he was
my
more
lender,
stoked.
man.
Yeah, he was more stoked about that than he was about any kind of conversation. In fact, when he started talking to me about his business earlier, his tone went down a little bit. There wasn't as much interest. I mean, he wants to build his business. He wants to grow. He just bought a building. He was kind of excited about it, but nothing compared to what he was talking about with racing his car. And so one of the big things that I find very valuable is find out what people are interested in and let them talk about that at a networking event, because it doesn't matter about the business. If you don't show that you're interested in what they have to say, the relationship is kind of stagnant. And so be excited about what the other people want to do and go to every event and talk to the people. See how you can help them. See what you can do about that. See where you can move them to.
And Terry, if you don't mind, I want to jump in real quick because I do have to jump out of here. But what Terry's getting at, he said go to every networking event. It literally is true. When I was an agent, right? As an agent going and looking to build my network, I would go to yoga class, I go hit the gym, and I'd still find clients. Like it didn't matter. As long as I was talking to human beings, they would send me somebody. As long as I imprinted them in their head. And by the way, you got to control the conversation, right? You could talk about anything or you could talk about your business, right? If you talk about your business, you're going to get results. If you talk about anything, results may vary. It could be whatever. But get into it and make sure that they know what you are, who you are. But that's the last thing you mention. The first thing is what Terry is saying is dive into them, figure out what they're interested in, what they're looking to do for themselves. And then let them reciprocate eventually if they find that the conversation is riveting and engaging. And if you're asking about them, they will find it riveting and engaging.
Yes.
There are two things people love: their name and to talk about themselves. So remember their name and use it, and then talk about them. Ask them what they're interested in. Ask them what they're doing. And then eventually, once you've hit that point of rapport where they like you, they will ask about you. And then when you answer, you're very clear about how you make money. This is what I do for fun, and I love it.
It's couldn't have said it better. The clarity of your message. It does not have to be long, and please don't draw it out. Don't tell them how you do what you do. Don't tell them that you're doing what you're doing. You just took my phone. It's all about concise and really confident about what you do.
Terry, ask me what I do.
What do you do, Gualter?
I build millionaires. I'm building 100 this year. It's simple.
I build millionaires. I don't have my shirt on, but I build millionaires.
That's it.
I help people with their performance, where they're at to where they want to go. I cover that gap. I say it in several different ways that say the same thing depending on how people are talking to me. I have a few different ways of saying it. I build businesses. If I'm talking to somebody who's just told me that they're trying to build their businesses, oh yeah, you know what? I build businesses. If somebody's talking about how they've just put a team together and they're trying to put a team that is a high performance team, I work with high performers. I help them to move to the next level. I help them become higher performers. Oh man, I'm having trouble with my teams. You know what? I work with teams. I find that there's 4 different areas that teams have that it's very distinct. They form, and then they storm, and then they norm, and then they perform. I help them move through those stages. Wow. How do you do that? Great question. You know what? We should really sit down and talk some more. I've got a lot of people to meet, but I want to talk to you about that. What's your phone number?
I love that you hold off the bullet train of action. I love that you don't like throw it out there right away. Like they got to get to know you a little better.
Yeah, and sometimes I do. If they're talking about wanting to take action fast, you know what? I'm the bullet train. Get on, let's go. And so that's another way I do it. And so it's all kinds of different things, different ways to talk to people, but being able to just in the moment off the cuff. But I like in this group, when I'm doing build your business and profit, build your business and not to profit, but build your business and build your profit. Build your business and profit. I'm going to teach you that one day, Walter. And I mess
And
with people a
profit.
lot too. By the way, one of the best networking moves is to mess with people, tease them, play with them, mess around, keep it fun, keep it light. One of the first things I forgot what I was saying. God damn it.
And if you swear a lot, right?
Yep.
You'll find very quickly there are people that will piss off. Just keep moving on. Right?
Yeah.
If somebody
Yeah.
can't handle your type of humor, perfect. I'm glad we figured this out before we started.
Melanie Santos wrote the thing. She introduces me as Wendy from Billions. It's like, this is my Wendy. She did it yesterday. And I love that because I love the show Billions. If anybody knows, that's a high performance coach. But the whole idea is no matter what you're doing, you want to be light, you want to be fun, you want to be direct. One of the things that people like most about me, and it turns a lot of people off, is I'm blunt and I'm direct. And I say what I'm doing. I say exactly what I'm going to do. Gualter, have a good time at your networking event. We're going to be going to one too. We're going to be actually jumping off here in about 5 minutes to go to the networking event. And I'm going to see Paula there. I'm going to see Melanie there. And I'm going to see Jamie there. She's driving there now.
Oh yeah.
So anybody else who's able to get there, it's Tel Aviv on the waterfront in Providence, I think. Providence, Rhode Island. I have no idea where that is. I'm just going to type it into my GPS and drive there. But networking is all about just being you, talking about what you do. But before you talk about what you do, make sure you learn about what they do, because this is where I was going with that before I got off messing with Walter, is when I understand what they are doing and how they are doing it, I have more intel so I can position myself as somebody who can help them. Because everyone is always walking up going, hey, I want to write your book, or hey, I want to be your lawyer, or hey, I want to be your realtor. Everybody does that. When you are talking to them and asking them about themselves and interested in what they do and understanding what they do, and you hear how you fit in with what they do, then you can, let me ask you a question. Have you done this or that? These are some of the things I do. And now you've moved into that process of entering their world. And once you enter their world, then you can actually start talking about how you can work together. It's very much an art of connection when you're doing this. But when you start out, the first thing you want to do is you want to just go and meet anybody and everybody you can. It doesn't matter what's happening. It matters that you start meeting them and talking to them, talking to the people. Everyone is going to be a little bit concerned and nervous and scared about who they're going to meet or how they're going to show up. It's the nervousness of meeting new people. There isn't anybody out there that doesn't have that kind of thing. I like to think of it as excitement. I get really excited when I'm meeting new people. It feels almost the same as fear, but I know it's just my adrenaline because I'm going into a new environment where I haven't seen people before. And it's my chance to go help another person. And so it's continuously getting to know and connect with people, and then being very deliberate in letting them know what you do and how you can help them based on the frame of what they do. And so it's not just walking up and going, hey, I write books. Want me to write your book? Hey, I sell houses. Want me to sell your house? Here's a sandwich. That just wouldn't, it would be weird, right? If Melanie, who owns Subways, just walked up and started handing people sandwiches. Here's a meatball sandwich. What the hell? I didn't order that. You got to think about it from that point of view. That's weird. If you start talking to them and understanding what they do, now you have a good idea of how you fit in their lives. And then you can move to a questioning place and ask them questions around what you do so that they can move into, what do you do? Now, the big pieces that fits all of this together is trying to pick out one networking event is like trying to pick out the pot of gold at the end of a rainbow. First, you got to find rainbow, then you got to go all the way down to it. Then you go and get the pot of gold, and it's not there because there is no magic networking group that's going to give you the lead, that's going to give you the business that you want. You have to build your business. You have to generate the relationships. You have to generate resources. You have to generate those things for results. You also have to generate your message. Everything about what you do is a generating kind of thing. Bye, Gualter. So when you're looking at what you're doing in networking, you want to be intentional. Every networking event Christine and I do, we have a number in mind of how many people we want to meet, how many people we want to move to some kind of appointment. Usually what we do is a virtual coffee, especially in the virtual world. And so we do, hey, let's do a virtual coffee, get on the interweb and talk to you about what we can do together more. Then we also want to, what's up? Somebody just walked in. So we also want to identify who else we want to talk to, what else we can do for them. So people we want to move to a sales call because we have an idea of we could help them as a client, who we want to help that we can connect other people with, who we want to partner with. And so we have a different idea about what people do and how they'll fit in our business. And we actually categorize people. And I know that sounds bad, but we categorize people into where we think they would fit best to continue our relationship. And the funny thing is the more intentional we are in that categorization, the better we do in our business and the better we do in our numbers for whatever we do. Because business is numbers based, not just on our money, but based on the amount of connections and relationships we create. And so looks like we're getting ready to go. So I'm going to end this here tonight. I'm super excited that you guys all hung out. And we will be here next week, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. We appreciate everybody showing up for Build Your Business and Profit. We can't wait to see you next time. You guys have a good night. When you have a choice, always work with the best, as Gualter says.
The best. Always. Thank you, Terry. Have fun at the meetup.
Yeah.
All right. Good night.
Bye, guys.
Good night.
Night.
I see Kim is driving to the meetup. And Matt. I'm a little bit jealous.
We're on our way. Miss you guys.
Hey, we'll be in September. We'll be back with Gualter, but you have fun. Awesome.
We will.
All right.